All right, peeps. Recently we did an interview with Steph Piper from Elkei Education about their beautiful new Space Girl and other badge soldering kits. These kits are really gorgeous, and they have multicolored solder mask, which really sets them apart. Now, today's twist is that I only have about 25 minutes to do this. Realistically 20, so I'm going to try and speed solder this kit. Find the interview in the description below, along with links to this kit and where to buy it. I got it from Pimaroni, and we're about to unbox it right now. So let's go. All right. First, let's get this open. There's a few other things I ordered at the same time, which we'll get to look at later. All right. Let me make sure that my mic is on the right thing. Yes, great. We should have good audio with everything. We have a hello already. Hello, Elkei, or Elkei. I'm not sure how you say your name, but it was a pretty name. Let's get this open. There's just a bit of brown tape to cut here, so I'm doing that off screen for optimal safety. All right. Oh, I misjudged which side it opens on. This is always a problem with unlabeled boxes. There we go. Yes. Yes, I think we are on the way now. Okay, let's get this open. Aha! Oh, I guess I was right the first time. Whatever. Oh, yeah! One of the things I ordered was a new Teensy 4, which is a wonderful object for working with audio. We've got a fan shim for Raspberry Pi for cooling. We've got a Arduino Xiao, which we'll talk about later, an ESP32 camera module, which we'll also talk about later, and this soldering kit! Okay. Looks beautiful. Comes in its own little plastic packaging. It's larger than I thought. It's already got the pin mounted on there, so that'll be easier. Sometimes you have to solder the lapel pin attachment onto there, and that can be a little bit more of a pain because it tends to... Look, it's attached right there. This is gorgeous. Look at this packaging. It even tells you how to solder and how to do it safely and gives you a diagram of the board. That's really lovely. Let's make sure we've got some good focus here. Ooh, there we go. Yeah. LEDs need to be the right way around to work. So this is really a very self-explanatory kit that even if you're not familiar with electronics, but your kid is interested in it, or you have a friend whose kid is interested in it, they can do this together. And it'll be very self-explanatory, including safety notes. You've got your parts list here. Coin cell battery holder, CR2032 coin cell. 2 LEDs and a switch. Oh, we should be able to do this in 20 minutes. It's even attached really solidly here. So, you do have to solder on that. That's not so bad though. Which side should I solder it on, I wonder? I think I'll do it like this. You can put it through, but then you don't get this little barb on there that helps it hold on to stuff. Maybe I will put it through. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll do that last, and I can decide later. When in doubt, procrastinate on the decision. So the general wisdom here is to start with the flattest objects and then work your way to the tallest ones. So let's see. We've got our battery holder. That's pretty tall. Interesting. The holes seem to be further apart than the pins on the battery holder, but we'll make it work. We can do that flat if all else fails. Okay, cool. And then we've got your LEDs, which are going to be the tallest thing for sure. Let's start with this switch. I'm going to actually use one of the LEDs to give us a little bit of evenness here so that it gets mounted flat. I've got my lead-free solder here. Very much recommended if you're doing stuff with kids. Even just in general, it's good to use lead-free solder. It's better for the environment in case, like, things get out into the trash or whatever, not that you would ever throw this away, but it's just good practice, especially if you're working with kids. So I have a little bit of solder on the tip of the soldering iron. I'm applying that to heat up both the pin that's coming through here and the solder pad on the board, and then I apply solder to both of them to make a nice little dome there. And I got a little bit of extra solder on here, so what I've done is oh, nope. Well, I guess that will just stay on there. I could use some flux maybe to remove it. There's a number of different ways to remove this solder braid, things like that, also known as desoldering braid, also known as solder wick, is a way to get solder off of things when you don't want it to be there. But I honestly don't think that it really mars the surface at all. Lead-free solder can be a little bit more of a pain to work with, so I'm having a little trouble getting this to actually adhere well to both the pin and the pad. Yeah, that's a little blobby. I think I just need to apply more heat. I wonder if this is a ground plane here. My guess is they have copper underneath the solder mask here to make it look all nice. And that's sort of sucking up some of the heat and making it so that this lead-free solder doesn't want to completely liquefy, which is irritating, but fine. Let's put on the battery holder next. And as I mentioned, I'm going to need to do a little bit of bodging here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pliers to flatten out one of the pins. Let's go with this one. I'm just going to bend it outwards so that we'll be doing more of a surface mount solder with this one. The nice thing is that this pin sticks out outside the package of the battery holder, so that makes it easy to be able to solder it like this. Ah, yes, perfect. Okay, cool. So now that the positive pin is going through here, no, the ground one is going through, and the positive one is sort of sticking off to the side so that it intersects with this hole here. And that'll work okay. So first, let's do... I should do this one first so that I make sure it's in the right orientation. But I'm going to use a third hand so that the pin doesn't rest against the table and end up kind of not going through. All right, so soldering iron, yes. Solder for thermal contact. Heat up both pieces here, and come on. There we go, yes. Beautiful. And I'll make sure that that's actually going through and let it cool for a second. Lovely. What time are we at? 11. I've got like 15 minutes. This one is being a bit of a jerk again. Solder with lead in it flows a little better, is less sensitive to temperature and things like that. You can often fix that by turning your soldering iron temperature up. This one is standard at about 300 Celsius. I could probably bump that up, actually. I've never actually looked at the manual for this TS100. What happens if I hit one of these buttons? Well, okay. Time for our LEDs. See how this is actually allowed some solder to come through here, and then our other pin for the battery is there. I'm going to put the LEDs on the front side. You wouldn't have to. You can get a cool like backlighting effect if you mount LEDs to the back of a board. But if I hold it like this, you can kind of see where the board is translucent. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that. You can see light coming through on her face and in this sky. And that makes those areas good candidates for like a shine through LED. But it's sort of more opaque in general, so maybe I want to put the LEDs on the front. Or do I? Do I want them on the back? Well, how thick are they? They kind of stick out. Yeah, I think that with having the pin here, holding it to my clothing, it would kind of bulge it out if I had the LED there because it's so tall. So instead, I'm going to mount it as it's intended on the front. You got your positive and negative leads marked here. Positive is your long leg, the negative is your short leg. So let's put that through. And we're going to bend the legs outwards so that it sits flat and stays there while I put the other LED in. Another way you can tell, interesting. The silk screen on this one seems a little backwards. So the ground side of the LED often also has a flat side in this little circle dome. So it's sort of flat right here, and that indicates that that's the negative side as well. What's confusing me here is that the silk screen actually has the flat side on the positive side, even though it's marked properly over here. So maybe I'll double check, because the two sides of the silk screen are conflicting. So let's have a look. Hard to tell because I've already put the battery on, but this should be the ground leg. Yeah, I wish I hadn't already put the battery on. I'll be able to rewind later and see. But we'll try it this way, and either it'll work or it won't. I just won't clip the leads off yet. Oh, put it on the front. Ooh, they have also a cheat sheet on here. So I'm going to assume that this is the correct way, following the pluses and minuses. My assumption is also that they would have double and triple checked those, and not the silk screen. All right. Enough nerding out on that. We got to get this done. I like to sort of drag the soldering iron up the leg of the LED after I'm done soldering it. Same goes for resistors and capacitors and things, because that means that if there's any extra, it won't just bead up. It will be sort of pulled down the leg and then it gets clipped off. So a way to keep your little joints tidy. All right, now all we should have left is the lapel pin. But before I cut these leads off, I still need to trim them. First, I'm going to make sure that those LEDs are both in the correct orientation, because if not, it's going to be a much bigger pain to pull them out and resolder. So, oh yes, there we go. And one thing that I love about wearables is when they have a switch. These are color-changing LEDs, so they have a built-in circuit inside the LED that tells it to change color, and they probably have 3 little LED dyes inside of here. Instead of a single color one, they probably have a red, green, and blue one inside. I think they do. I'll whip out a microscope another day, and we can look at what these actually look like on the inside. That'll be fascinating. So now I'm ready to clip these leads off. Assuming that I can find my clippers. Oh, it's one of those days, huh? Well, we'll definitely find that in a second. For now, let's get this lapel pin on. I think I am going to mount it on the bottom. No, that'd be a pain. Okay, so instead, can I get this through here so that, oh, yes, the little barb does sort of fit around the edge there. You don't even have to clip it off. So, it was sticking through at the start. But that doesn't mean that it has to be at the end. I'm going to put it, I'm just going to try putting some solder on here. How do I want to do this? I think I do want to do it this way, because if I try to do it from, backwards. If I try to do it more surface mount style, it's going to be hard to melt that solder if it doesn't want to melt. There is no big copper ground plane here, which should make it easier to distribute the heat properly and make sure the solder is melting. It's an interesting decision, but I think putting it through is a good move, because it's also going to sort of hold it in place while I solder. Okay, so let's do this. Hey, stay there. If I tilt it like this, then it will be held in place by gravity. And let's see, I'll start on this side. Don't use your fingers to hold things in place for soldering. Don't do what I did, because you'll end up burning yourself. All right. That looks pretty decent, but we have a huge glob of solder right where that fastener will probably want to go. Let's see if it will actually attach. Oh, great. Well, that works just great. It does look a little out of place at the top there, but I think it's a pretty color, so it's fine. Also, you wouldn't even have to use the badge pin if you didn't want. You could just put a little jump ring through there and use it as a pendant or something, which would also look really nice. I think this would make a great pendant for like a kid. And then you wouldn't have to worry about it catching on stuff. So the final thing I have left to do is cut off these leads, which requires me finding my clippers. And I have 8 minutes to do that. Yes, here they are. That wasn't so bad. Come here. There we go. I like to sort of put my finger on the leg while I'm clipping it off, and that prevents it from flying off into the ether. Aha. Okay. There we have our finished badge. Turn it on and watch it go. All right. So this is beautiful. I want to show you the websites really quick before we wrap up here, but I also want to attach it to my suspenders. Man, if we only had maker fairs in the real world right now, this would be a great thing to rep at your next maker fair whenever it happens. Maybe there are some somewhere in the world. But let's take a look again quickly at the websites, because I promised you that. So here's the Pimeroni page. You can pronounce it Pimeroni or Pimeroni, but I say Pimeroni because it's technically it means pirate monkey robot ninja is the lore as I understand it. So Pimeroni, I think, is slightly more correct. But really, you can say it either way. Here's the Elkei page, where they have not only these pins, but also electronics guides and all kinds of other cool resources. And then also you can check out the link in the description below for our interview with Steph Piper, talking about how she designed these beautiful kits, including a black cat kit that will be soon on Pimeroni, as well as this Bio Girl one. All right, that's all I got for you today. We are 6 minutes under time. Let's see if we have any questions before we wrap up. Jay says, it's so cute. It's true. It's an extremely cute pin. Look at this. Look at this. It's so pretty. I love the multiple colors. That's really an innovation, a design innovation that Steph did. She had to talk to a bunch of different manufacturers to get these multiple solder mask colors. As you can see, like most circuit boards are like a single color, like green or matte black, which is my favorite, or other colors. But here she's got purple and sort of a dark magenta and a navy blue color. It's just really magical. And that combined with the sort of teal colored fiberglass substrate for the PCB itself, and the gold coating on the traces, which I believe is like an Enig gold covered copper coating, and then the white silk screen on the top layer. It just creates a really dynamic, really beautiful looking PCB. Cool kit for the kids. True. I think this would be great for building with children. It was really fast, really simple. What is Space Girl badge? It's this thing. Isn't it great? All right. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll see you soon. And as always, hack on.